Brother, don't say anything to me. I have accepted Islam. You will understand why I did this if you watch this video.
A 15-year-old girl who used to herd goats had embraced Islam. When she began to pray secretly at home, her brothers caught her in the act. They immediately dragged her out into the courtyard. What punishment did Geeta's father give her in his rage? Let us tell you that story, a story that will refresh your faith. Geeta was a young girl of only 15. From birth, she grew up in a remote and superstitious village where religion meant blindly following the traditions of ancestors. Asking questions was considered a sin, and seeking the truth was treated like a crime. Yet since childhood, a strange restlessness stirred in Geeta's heart. She saw people crying before idols, but those idols never answered. She saw people folding their hands before the sun, yet their sorrows did not decrease. Instead, the burden of injustice only grew. One day, while sitting by an abandoned well outside the village, she heard the words of the Quran for the first time. An elderly Muslim traveler was speaking in a soft voice about the oneness of Allah, justice, and mercy. Those words shook Geeta's heart deeply. The one who hears all and sees all is not confined to an idol. This sentence set a fire in her soul. From that day on, she began her secret search for the truth. Gradually, as she learned about Islam, Geeta realized that this religion teaches one to ask questions, not to fear. It teaches how to believe. After crossing many fears, doubts, and tears, one night she sat alone and bowed her head before Allah. There was no witness, no festival. There was only a helpless young girl and her Lord. On that very day, she embraced Islam in her heart. Friends, our videos are watched by people of all religions, including Muslims, Hindus, and Christians. So if you are a Muslim, please like this video, and if you belong to another religion, let us know in the comments which faith you follow. But this path was not easy. If anyone in the village found out, her life could be in danger. Out of this fear, she would pray secretly deep at night while everyone else slept. Spreading an old, torn cloth, she would fall into prostration, and her tears would mix with the soil. Despite the fear, hunger, and loneliness, a strange peace would descend upon her heart, a peace she had never felt before. In Geeta's village, a daughter was seen as a burden. From birth, girls were taught that their only job was to endure. Geeta was no exception. Her day began before the first light of dawn. Sweeping the courtyard, tending to the cows and goats, cooking, fetching water, all the burdens fell on her shoulders. Yet after a day of back-breaking labor, there was not a single word of praise or gratitude for her.
The most painful part was the lack of love. If she fell ill, no one asked how she was. Hiding her tears, she kept working, for she knew that even if she cried, no one would comfort her. Yet amidst this neglect and contempt, a strange strength was being born in Geeta's heart. Secretly performed prayers taught her patience and reliance on Allah. She began to understand that no matter how much people belittled her, her Lord was watching her. This belief gave her the courage to live anew every day, even though the world around her was cruel and merciless. The incident in the courtyard. That day remained a terrifying memory in Geeta's life. When the afternoon sun turned mild, she slipped away from her work into a small, empty room behind the house. Closing the door halfway and spreading an old cloth, she stood before Allah. Though her heart was pounding, her mind grew calm as she began her prayer. She did not know that her secret worship would lead to a terrible consequence today. Suddenly, a loud bang on the door. Her eldest brother burst in. There was fire in his eyes and hatred on his face. "What are you doing?" he screamed, grabbing Geeta by the collar. Breaking her prayer, Geeta stood up trembling. Without giving her a chance to speak, the other two brothers rushed in. They dragged her into the courtyard as if she were a criminal. Everyone gathered in the yard. Geeta fell to the ground, and her brothers' kicks and punches rained down on her body. No one came forward to protect her. "This will not be allowed in our house," they shouted as they pulled her up by her hair. Tears streamed from her eyes, but no sound came from her mouth. Under the weight of the insult, she felt as if she had forgotten how to breathe. The most painful part was her father's silence. He stood in front of her but did not utter a single word. That silence struck Gita's heart like 1,000 whips. That day she realized, in this house, she had no safety, no dignity. After the beating, her brothers left her lying in the yard. Though her body was racked with pain, Gita slowly stood up. Wiping her tears, she looked at the sky. Internally, she was broken, but a strange determination was born in her mind. She knew, even if people humiliated her, Allah would never leave her alone. The turning point. After the incident, the atmosphere inside the house became even toxic. Her father's body was growing weaker day by day. Age and years of hard labor had sapped his strength. One night, he suddenly fell gravely ill. He struggled to breathe, and his body burned with fever. Even in that state, his 3 sons had only their own interests in mind. Gita sat by her father's side all night. Sometimes she put water on his forehead, sometimes she moistened his lips. Towards dawn, the father called his sons in a weak voice, but the sons were more worried about their own future than their father's illness. They whispered to each other, "Why should we take the burden of this old man?" There was not a drop of compassion in their voices. When the father clearly stated that he would not kick Gita out of the house, anger flared on the sons' faces. They screamed, "If you keep that girl, we will not stay." They issued this threat right by their sick father's bed. Gita stood silently, her head bowed. She could see this home was on the verge of breaking. Finally, the 3 brothers packed their clothes. They didn't look back at their father once as they left. The sound of the door closing felt like a blow to Gita's chest. The sons whom the father had considered his strength all his life had abandoned him. In the house, there was now only a sick old man and a neglected teenage girl. In that silent room, tears rolled down the father's eyes. For the first time, he began to realize strength is not just about having sons. And Gita, despite all the insults and torture, sat at her father's feet. She was crying inside, but her decision was firm. She would not leave her father alone. The search for the lost goat.
After the brothers left, the entire burden of the household fell on Gita's shoulders. Her father's treatment, food, and daily needs, everything depended on her. Their only asset was a goat. Their livelihood depended on selling its milk. One morning, Gita woke up to find the goat missing from the yard. She searched everywhere but could not find it. Panic filled her father's eyes, for losing the goat meant their last hope was gone. Without saying a word, Gita set out to find the goat. Crossing the village, she gradually moved towards the forest. The shadows of the trees grew dense, and the birds' songs sounded unfamiliar. Though fear gripped her chest, she did not stop, remembering her father's face. She moved forward, taking the name of Allah. After walking a long distance, she suddenly heard the bleating of the goat. Following the sound, Gita reached deep into the forest, where humans rarely ventured. There she saw a small hut. Her goat was tied beside the hut. Gita was surprised, for she had never imagined anyone lived in such a place. An old Darvesh, saint, was sitting in front of the hut. There was a strange peace on his face and depth in his eyes. Gita approached fearfully. The old man asked in a soft voice, "Child, are you looking for something?" At this question, tears came to Gita's eyes. After so long, someone had addressed her with such kindness. When she mentioned the goat, the old man smiled gently. He said the goat had come there seeking shelter on its own. Gita breathed a sigh of relief at getting the goat back, but her heart was drawn towards the hut and the strange peace of the old man. She did not realize how much this journey into the forest was about to change her life. Lessons from the saint. Standing before that hut, Gita felt a strange serenity. The Darvesh signaled her to sit inside. There was no luxury, a mud floor, an old mat, and a wooden shelf full of books. Yet the environment was so peaceful. The old man began to speak slowly. He asked, "Child, are you afraid?" Gita remained silent for a while,
Then all the pain of her life came pouring out. She told him about the neglect, the beatings, the secret prayers, and the story of being left alone. The old man listened intently, not interrupting once. When she finished, he said in a soft voice, "Allah tests his beloved servants, but he never leaves them alone." He explained that Islam is not just a religion of rules, it is a path of patience, justice, and love. He told Gita that Allah looks at the state of a person's heart, not their outward strength. He who is weak in the eyes of people can be the strongest in the eyes of Allah. The old man explained the meaning of some verses of the Quran while speaking of Allah's mercy. Gita felt these words washing away the fear stored in her heart. For the first time, a firm belief was born in her. She was not alone. The old man explained the importance of sabr, patience. He said, "Sabr does not just mean enduring pain, but staying firm on the right path while trusting Allah." These words settled deep in Gita's heart. Her eyes were no longer filled just with tears of sorrow, but with the light of new hope. At the time of parting, the old man placed his hand on her head and prayed for her. Gita realized that today she had not just met a person, she had become reacquainted with her Lord. This acquaintance began to change the course of her life. The father's realization. Returning from the forest, Gita saw her father's condition had worsened. His body had dried up like wood, and his eyes had sunk into their sockets. He struggled for breath, and his chest heaved with pain. A strange silence filled the room. Where there used to be the voices and arrogance of sons, there was now only the sound of sighs and agony. Lying there, the father repeatedly looked towards the door. Perhaps he hoped his sons would return. But days passed, nights came, no one came. The sons he had considered the strength of his life had abandoned him at his most difficult time. This realization was slowly breaking him from within.
Gita sat by her father day after day. Sometimes she gave him water, sometimes she arranged medicine, sometimes she just silently held his hand. At those times, a kind of shame and helplessness floated in her father's eyes. He could not speak, but 1,000 unspoken questions hung in his gaze. At night, when the pain increased, the father would desperately look towards the son and try to say something, but he received no response. That silence made him even more afraid. For the first time, he felt that the power he had worshipped all his life had left him completely alone in this moment. Sitting in the corner of the room, Gita saw it all. Though pain accumulated in her heart, she tried to stay strong for her father. She could see that this illness was not just of the body, but a terrifying test of her father's faith. And standing in the middle of this test was a neglected girl who was now her father's only refuge. Selfless service and the power of Surah Al-Fatiha. As the father's illness grew, Gita's responsibilities became heavier. There was little food in the house and almost no money. Yet she did not hesitate for a moment in serving her father. Waking at dawn, she wiped his body, gave him water, and then went out in search of work. Sweeping someone's house, tending someone's cattle, she took whatever work she could find. Many days passed where Gita herself did not eat just to arrange a bowl of thin rice and some salt for her father. She never spoke of her own suffering in front of him. Instead, she would say with a smile, "I have already eaten." Though her stomach was empty and her body weak, she did not complain. At first, her father didn't say anything. Perhaps his pride held him back. But at night, when Gita sat by him and quietly prayed to Allah, his eyes moistened. He gradually began to feel that the very girl he had neglected all his life was giving her all for him. Gita would massage his father's feet and check his fever. Sometimes, overcome by exhaustion, she would fall asleep right there by his side. There was no complaint in her heart, only duty and love. She made only one prayer to Allah: "O Lord, heal my father. Everything is possible if you will it." Through this selfless service, Geeta's character became even firmer. No hatred was born within her despite the contempt, torture, and hunger. She believed that sabr never goes in vain. One day, Geeta decided that the father should at least see his sons once more. She went to her brothers and humbly requested, "Please come once and see father's illness." She hoped they might suddenly feel their sense of responsibility. But the reality was different. When the brothers answered Geeta, the signs of hidden hatred were clear. One said, "We won't waste time coming for your father. You are that girl who is useless anyway." Along with these words, they pushed Geeta away. Seeing their faces full of mockery, Geeta's heart trembled. She stood there with pain and contempt, yet no words came out. Geeta realized that in the family she was born into, people's hearts were so hard they might never soften. It was clear now how selfish the sons were, whom the father had always considered his strength. They didn't even have the courage to enter the house, they just stood outside mocking her. This scene made Geeta's heart cry, but her resolve did not falter. She knew her father was alone before Allah now, and she would stay by him. From inside, the father looked at them but couldn't say anything. His eyes were a mix of disappointment and pain. But amidst that pain, Geeta's calm mind gave him strength. The selfish brothers were absent, but her duty was unwavering. The breaking of false beliefs. Geeta's father had worshipped the sun all his life. From morning till evening, he would stand before the sun and pray, believing that it would give him strength, success, and safety. But during this ultimate test of life, he noticed that the sun was not helping him. His body was weak, his children had abandoned him, and the pain of illness was increasing. No vision, no mercy. He received nothing.
One day, while Geeta was feeding him, the father suddenly sighed deeply and said, "All this time I believed the sun had all the solutions, but what has happened? This sun has left me alone." He closed his eyes and felt the internal frustration. All the mistakes of his life, his pride in thinking of his sons as strength, belittling his daughter, everything became clear before him. He realized that the power people think they have is merely an illusion. True power, true mercy, true help, all come from Allah. Geeta silently held her father's hand. There were tears in her eyes, but a strange peace in her heart. He then realized that truth is never outside, it is within. The blind faith he had followed for so long shattered. Not the sun, not humans, only the Almighty Allah can help through all sorrows and dangers. This realization changed his life. Though his heart was broken, it began to soften. He understood that all strength is not external, and the solution to all problems lies with Allah. That realization gave him a new consciousness. For the first time, a trace of unfamiliar peace appeared on the father's face. The blessing of Surah Al-Fatiha. Following the advice of the elderly saint, Geeta understood that her father's illness and mental unrest would not be solved by physical medicine alone. He needed Allah's blessings and correct worship. The saint had told her, "Success and peace are found by the person who seeks mercy and refuge from Allah." Geeta listened intently. Then the old man explained the importance of reciting Surah Al-Fatiha. The blessings and peace that come through this surah are priceless. Geeta had memorized Surah Al-Fatiha. Every day she began to recite it for her father and blow on water for him to drink. On the very first day, she noticed a small change. Her father's breathing became easier, and an unknown tranquility appeared in his eyes. Every word of the verses seemed to touch his body and soul. Geeta's faith grew firmer. Allah truly sees everything and shows mercy. As days passed, her father's condition began to improve. Not just physically, but mental peace arrived as well. The shroud of agony, frustration, and helplessness began to lift. Geeta thanked Allah in her heart and realized that patience, faith,
and the blessings of Surah Al-Fatiha together bring true benefit. In this process, Geeta's mind also became tranquil. The wounds of her inner pain, torture, and contempt could no longer pressure her the same way. She felt that following the path directed by Allah solves all problems. Surah Al-Fatiha was not just a prayer, it was a powerful means of mercy, refuge, and life change. Geeta's small effort transformed her father's heart. Helplessness and frustration vanished, and in the father's eyes, peace and hope for a new life appeared. At this moment, Geeta realized Allah's blessings are truly miraculous, and when mixed with patience and love, even the ultimate challenges can be overcome. The final surrender to truth. The father gradually began to understand that the greatest strength in life is not a son, but the daughter whom he had considered small and weak. Geeta's infinite patience, her endurance of contempt, and her selfless love had opened his eyes. He realized that the pride with which we considered children as strength never gives a person true power. He remembered all his past mistakes, neglecting his daughter, giving excessive importance to selfish sons, not paying attention to them out of his own pride. Everything was a great mistake in his life. For the first time, he felt true remorse. Tears fell from his eyes, and a deep ache settled in his heart. In this feeling, his arrogance slowly began to melt. Geeta sat beside him, holding his hand. At this time, an unknown tenderness bloomed in the father's eyes. He said, "You are my strength. You are my refuge. Today I realize that what I thought was strength had led me on the wrong path." These words brought a new perspective to his consciousness. He knew true strength meant patience, love, and reliance on Allah.
This realization colored his life anew. The daughter he had looked down upon had given him such a great lesson through her patience and love that at the end of his life, he saw the world through completely new eyes. He realized that all pride and mistakes can be corrected, and a heart can be softened through remorse. Geeta, who was always patient, was now giving her father strength not just physically, but mentally and spiritually. At this moment, the father's heart softened completely, and he realized true strength is not in arrogance, but in love and patience. The journey to the hut. When the father understood his mistakes, a strange peace was born in his mind. He saw that Geeta, the person he had considered weak all his life, was the true strength of his life. A deep desire began in his heart. He wanted to come to the path of truth himself. Tasting the peace of Islam and the mercy of Allah became a unique experience for him. One day, the father went to Geeta. With tears in his eyes and an unknown tenderness on his face, he said, "Daughter, you have shown me the truth. Will you take me to Allah?" Geeta remained silent for a while, then nodded with a smile. She felt that finally her father had realized patience, love, and reliance on Allah are the sources of true strength. The father felt that those who always made him feel strong were not actually by his side, but Geeta, who endured contempt and cared for him patiently, was his true refuge. He decided that in the final stage of his life, he would seek the truth and surrender himself to the path of Allah. That day, a deep change came over the father. Holding Geeta's hand, he said, "My heart has been freed today. I want you to take me to that elderly saint who guided me on the path of Allah." Geeta nodded silently, for she knew this journey was not just physical, it was a journey of the soul that could change the fate of the entire family. This wish of the father was not just for himself, but a new light for the whole family. Though his heart had broken once, the search for truth rejuvenated him. From that evening, the father slowly began preparing to embrace Islam. There was new hope in his eyes and the light of new faith in his heart. The victory of faith. The journey began towards that hut in the forest where the elderly saint had taught Geeta the core lessons of Islam. The father followed Geeta, holding her hand. As he walked, he thought the strength he had believed in all his life had no prayer or mercy in it. But today, at the end of this path, he would know where true power lies. Reaching the hut, the elderly saint greeted the father humbly. He realized that this old man was not just a source of knowledge, but a representative of Allah's mercy. Gita stood by her father, watching silently. There was a light of hope in her eyes. She knew that at this moment, her father's heart was about to accept a new perspective. The father slowly reached out and held the saint's hand. It was a strange peace that he had never felt before. The saint slowly explained the process of embracing Islam. In every word, every look, every instruction, the father realized Almighty Allah holds control over everything. Human pride, power, or influence can never give true peace. At that moment, the father embraced Islam. Waves of peace rose in his heart. There were tears in his eyes, but an indomitable joy inside. He realized that the search for truth is never delayed if it is followed with patience and love. Gita wept with joy. The father held her hand, and in that relationship, the light of new faith and Iman was shed. This victory of faith was not just for the father, but a new beginning for the whole family. Gita's patience, love, and Allah's mercy together made this victory possible. Today, the father found the light of truth at the final stage of his life, and a new chapter of peace and light began in the family.
The fruit of Gita's infinite patience and selfless love became clear today. Despite all the contempt, humiliation, torture, and pain, she did not abandon her father for a single moment. Her patience changed the fate of the entire family today. The father's heart, which was once hardened by arrogance and false beliefs, has now softened. He has realized true strength is not in a person's external power, but in patience, love, and faith in Allah. Other family members who were once indifferent towards Gita are now forced to admire her inner strength and patience. A new respect appeared in their eyes. Gita's patience became an example how true love and tolerance can soften a person's heart and correct old mistakes. The father's conversion to Islam is not just a change of religion, it is a new chapter for the whole family. Every day, every prayer, every act of patience, everything has borne fruit. Peace has returned to the family, and the foundation of their relationship is now established on love, respect, and trust in Allah. Gita has seen that after enduring everything, Allah truly rewards. This victory is not just physical or social, it is a spiritual victory. Through patience, sabr, and following the right path, a person can gain Allah's mercy and blessings even amidst suffering. Gita's story teaches every reader, the one who has sabr, the one who gives love, never goes in vain. Ultimately, Gita has brought not only her father, but the hearts of the entire family back to the path of truth. Her patience, her faith, and Allah's mercy made this victory possible. It stands as a testament that even the hardest hearts can be softened through sabr, and that true change is possible. So friends, this was our video for today. How did you like this video? Let us know in the comments. Friends, these are not stories from the Quran or Hadith. These are built on the basis of real-life events in our society and described through the lens of Quran and Hadith to show how they can be solved. Let us know in the comments which country you're watching the video from. Friends, if you want to see such Islamic stories and educational videos, subscribe to our Basiran YouTube channel right now. So see you in the next video. Until then, may Almighty Allah grant us all the tawfiq to stay on the right path. Ameen summa ameen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.